What are you doing?
I don't know. I think it's interesting. I remember.
You're just like playing with this little microphone. You're just going. Doo, 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 doo.
Well,
I think it's interesting.
Fun story. When I first got the Razer Kraken headset,
Banger headset. Banger headset.
Like this is like 2012, Jordan. Right? I got the Kraken. First headset I've ever seen with a retractable mic. I blew my fucking load at the sight of this thing. I was
what,
like,
the retractable microphone?
I was like, it extends.
I was like, yo.
It goes back in.
Yo.
It extends. It goes back in. Like, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it.
Dude, Razer Krakens, they're not the greatest headphones.
By a long shot.
They're not the greatest headset, but they're like a must. You have to own a pair of Krakens at some point in your life.
I don't care if you go from like a Mark III to a Kraken. You have to.
No. I don't even care if you have good headphones now. Get Krakens. I think you can still get the original green ones.
Yeah, that's what I had, yeah. The fucking
green
Kraken
ones.
one. It matched my mouse. I had the green mouse.
I wish I still had my pair of Krakens. Oh, man. That was a good headset, man.
Yeah. Reliable. Fun fact about my time with the Kraken. And this is going to completely go against what I just said about reliable, but I was so fond of these things. I saved up the money and bought them myself. I was so fond of them.
I got mine for Christmas.
That after about a week, I read the user's manual. And in the user's manual, fun fact, for the Kraken, it says, before each use, flex the headband with your thumbs.
Okay.
And I was like, hell yeah, maintenance. Flex the headband. Snap.
Oh.
I snapped the fucking headband.
Pain.
Fun fact, I didn't even flex it hard. I literally went like this, which for context, I'm basically flexing it about the amount it would be if I had the headphones on my head, and it just snapped inward. And they were like a week old. So
Pain.
For the remainder of my time with that, I had this pointy bit that would stab into the top of my head. I still liked them though.
Damn, no, I had mine for like 3 years. The reason, they actually still worked and I got rid of them. I gave them to someone. But the actual inside of the ear cup, the
like the mesh.
Yeah, no, not the mesh, but the inside stitching on the ear cup started to let loose, so there was a rip, and you see all the foam inside the ear cup. Mm-hmm. They were all kind of gross. But those headphones were probably some of the most reliable, stout headphones I've ever had. They're not built very well, but they're stout.
Yeah.
Like they, if you push the boundaries too much, they will definitely break.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true of everything. But, like, if you just use them normally, they'll last you probably forever.
Yeah. No, they're great headphones. Can't recommend more. So,
It's like a must. You must own this at one point.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So, ready to start the episode. Most of that's staying in, so.
Hello and welcome to the 55th installment of the Synapse Misfire Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, joined by our co-host, Jordan.
That's me.
Jordan.
I know, I think I know what you're going to say.
What am I going to say? Read my mind right now.
It's 4:34.
It is 4:34 p.m. on
Eastern.
August 14th, 2021.
Eastern time. Yeah.
Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
But other than that, if I was a viewer or a listener of this podcast, and I was like, man, my dad blocked YouTube.com on my home network. Where can I listen to this podcast on somewhere that's not YouTube.com?
First of all, I'd be very impressed if your dad knew how to do that. Second of all,
maybe their dad's an IT guy.
I know an IT guy.
You're looking at one.
I'm looking at an ex-IT guy, but I know an IT guy.
I know a current IT guy.
Yeah. Anyway, if you want to listen on a platform that is not YouTube, you can find us natively in Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, and of course, my app of choice, Pocketcasts, which I still have to dig into. Give them a little jab for what they did to me this morning on this fateful day. And as always, if you want to contact us, comment on the YouTube video if you're watching on there, / listening on there, I guess, and drop us an email, synapsemisfire@pm.me. Comments, questions, concerns, and world-famous death threats.
Jordan, 55, double nickel. It's the episode we're on today.
Yeah.
My cat is currently going ape shit with a automatic laser pointer. He didn't play with it for like a week, but he's going crazy right now.
Yeah, he's pissed at it right now. He's like, fuck this thing. He's like, he won't stop moving. He can't get it.
Yeah, he's like, I can't get the dot. What am I gonna do? Cats are so strange, dude. They're just weird animals.
Yeah.
They're like. I feel like I've said this in its exact form on the podcast like a few episodes back, where it's like, my cat, he's like, if I put my claws in this screen door that I know moves, if I put my claws in the holes of the screen door, I can move it and get out of the house, because he's done that before. But also, he's like, there's a red dot on the ground, that's crazy. And he's chasing that. Yeah, we're making fun of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Cats are an anomaly.
Yeah, they're
I feel like
strange.
they aren't from this planet. Like, I swear cats are like an alien creature.
Well, it's like, put it this way. There's a lot of theories. A lot of theories surrounding, like, the ancient aliens thing. The Egyptians, the aliens helped build the pyramids. Something like that. And they also worshipped cats. So, theoretically, maybe the cats were the ancient aliens.
Maybe.
So,
yeah.
I just put it that way.
I think you're onto something here, Chris. I think you're onto something.
But also, if you also put it that way, technically, there's a good chance that nothing on this planet is actually technically from here. So,
true.
Like, nothing, like, there is a possibility that there's almost no life on the planet that didn't originate from somewhere else in space.
True. If you follow that logic, yeah. That's true.
All the impacts and stuff, there was a lot of, like, bacteria and shit that was on, like, meteorites that just... Anyway, this is a comedy podcast. What are we talking about that's funny today, Jordan?
Is that what you classify it as? Comedy podcast?
I like to think so.
Comedy banter podcast. Two boys, two lads, two guys, two fellas,
two guys
chads.
being dudes.
You know?
Just two boys.
We're like, what level are we on? We're not chads. Definitely not chads.
I'm a Sigma male.
You're a Sigma male?
Sigma balls.
Sigma balls.
No,
I think you meant Sugma, yeah.
There's a new well, it's not new, but there's the meme of the Sigma male, which it was made unironically as like a one up to the alpha male. Was like, people were like, "Oh, it's like you're like a alpha male. You like cars, but you don't get any women, and you don't talk to people. So you're just a loser, but you're like you're really cool. You're the coolest guy around." So it's like, it's just another thing for people to be like, "Oh, that's me. I'm a Sigma male."
Yeah.
Oh, you're fucking. There's no such thing. There's just different personalities of people. You fucking morons.
Yeah. Aside from that,
I hate that shit.
You know what I hate? I hate what Pocketcasts did to me.
What did Pocketcasts do to you? What did this poor app do to you? It was your favorite for so long.
This is 2 episodes in the making.
2 episodes
for what they've done.
Yeah.
The great reveal. Saturdays, the podcast that I listen to like all the time, it's not Synapse Misfire, gets released.
I listen to that podcast all the time.
Yeah, 2 schmutz. The podcast I listen to gets released. Well, usually, the episode comes out on Saturday. We clean the apartment on Saturday, and I listen to part of it, and then I finish it throughout the week. Well, those motherfuckers didn't release. It released on every platform but Pocketcasts.
But Pocketcasts, okay.
And I'm waiting. It's pulled from an RSS feed is what it is. And I'm waiting. And I'm waiting. And I'm waiting. We finished cleaning at 11:59. I sit down, and my phone goes doo-doo-doo.
Damn.
I was so angry. I wasn't actually that angry. I was kind of upset, though.
What podcast is it?
It's called the No Sleep Podcast. They do horror stories with like a high production value.
Like reddit.com/r/nosleep.
That's kind of what it's based off of.
Fucking top tier subreddit as well.
Yeah, I love that subreddit.
I love that subreddit just because I think of all the subreddits, maybe aside from like the ones with porn, there's the least bullshit on there. Yeah. It's just like dedicated to scary stories, and I'm like all about it. Like, this is interesting. And then I read one like once a year.
Yeah.
Because I don't read things, honestly.
I don't read things. I have a lot to talk about reading today, actually, at some point.
You read something.
Yeah. I've continued my reading endeavors from a couple episodes ago where I mentioned... so, I finished, as you know, I mentioned it a few episodes back, the Assassin's Creed Valhalla book that I was reading. Finished that book. Top tier book. Very good book.
Okay.
I fucking really enjoyed it.
Okay.
So I finished the second Dishonored book. There's two. There's the first one, which is The Corroded Man, and the second one, which is The Return of Dowd. Which, did you ever play Dishonored?
I played the first one.
You remember Dowd? It's about him.
Yes.
So I finished that book. I finished it yesterday, and now I'm starting. I have a huge stack of books to read. I have all the Assassin's Creed books. I have a BioShock book, Uncharted. I have a Spider-Man PS4 prequel book, but there's a trilogy that I'm getting into. That is a famous, renowned trilogy. Fuck the Hunger Games. No. Metro. I'm finally starting Metro 2033 tonight. And then after that, and then after that, Metro 2034, and then after that, Metro 2035, baby. And I'm hyped. Yeah, I'm hyped. Metro's fucking awesome, dude. I can't wait.
You know,
the books are kind of long.
Those games, the Metro games, not the books, have been on my list of things to play for so long that I have the original port of Metro 2033, not the remastered one, the original one that was on Steam.
A lot of people swear by that one.
Really? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I have the remaster as well. But I have all of the games now.
Even Exodus?
Sorry. I don't have Exodus.
Oh, okay. They have a new enhanced edition of Exodus as well with DLSS.
I might have Exodus because I remember I got one recently from something. Mm-hmm. But I've always had Last Light remastered.
Yeah.
So it might be Exodus. Maybe I do have Exodus. Maybe I'm
Exodus,
lying.
dude, is that game's a fucking looker. That's a good.
I've heard it's a very pretty game.
It's fucking beautiful.
I'll play it eventually.
Should.
Just like everything else.
Yeah, it's very good. 2033 is good. Last Light's good. Exodus is fucking top tier. So, Exodus is like the new Hitman games to the old Hitman games almost. 2033 and Last Light are completely linear, and then Exodus is large scale maps just like the new Hitman games.
Say what you will about the new Hitman games. I remember the new one came out and there was some controversy surrounding it. I feel they're better than the old games.
I agree.
Significantly so.
And I don't have the nostalgia that some people do.
I don't
add that to it, but I agree. I think they're better games.
So, I mean...
Especially 2 and 3. 1 was pretty good. 2 and 3 were way better, though.
I have 1 and 2. I haven't played 2. I've played a lot of 1, though. It's a riot. It's a very fun game.
It's a fun game. Imagine that game with co-op. That'd be dope. That'd be pretty sick.
So, what I was going to say, though, you're talking about reading. I went to a bookstore recently. I walked into...
What is Chris doing in a bookstore?
That's a great question. I was with some friends, so...
This was the trip, yeah.
Yeah, I went on an outing for a day with some friends. Jordan didn't come because he's a bitch.
I was playing D&D, all right, motherfucker.
Well, I was having a great time, all right? I bet your D&D wasn't half as fun as my romp.
Hey, D&D was nice. I don't know. I bet the romp probably would have been a little better. But none of us are old enough to drink, so how could it really be?
I mean, it was painful, though. I did a lot of walking.
Oh, man.
These boots ain't
made for walking.
No, they ain't built right. I had blisters forming on the bottom of my feet.
Shit.
So, that's beside the point. I walked to a bookstore, Barnes & Noble. I walked in, and I walked, right past all the books, because there's a dedicated section, at least in the one I went to, where you walk through an additional, turnstile, or an additional thing, and it's like a metal detector in one area for some reason. And there's movies, TV shows, and music. And I was I almost walked out of there. I went into a bookstore. There's thousands of books in that place. Thousands. And I almost bought an album. Almost bought a fucking record. I almost bought a copy of RTJ4 on vinyl. But I was it's $50. The package is damaged slightly. The plastic was ripped. And I'm going to have to carry this thing for
the rest of the day.
The rest of the day, which was another, 6 hours. I was going to have to just put this in a backpack and just hope it makes it.
Yeah.
So it's I'm not going to do that. But yeah, it really shows that I went into a bookstore and almost walked out with an album.
Goes to show how much you like reading.
Granted, I actually did look for a book.
Like a specific book or just in general?
A specific book. Because they're...
Mein Kampf?
No, I already have that one. I was looking for a
Do you
copy.
actually?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell a story in a moment, but I was actually looking for the Ultimate Edition of, or one of the first Ultimate volume of Berserk, because I ordered it on Amazon, and it's like the first 7 volumes or 8 volumes.
That's a manga, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember you and Alex were talking about it.
Yeah, I was gonna read Berserk, and I'm just planning on reading Berserk, and I wanted it physically, and I know they have them at Barnes and Noble sometimes, and they have a whole manga section. And I went over and I looked and they didn't have it, so I was like, okay. And I looked at music.
Fuck this place. Yeah, fuck this place.
And then I looked at music. But coming back to Mein Kampf.
A famous book.
In 8th grade, my English teacher, he was the greatest. I loved my 8th grade English teacher. We did a unit on like a book, the book, Christ, what's it called? Night by Elie Wiesel. The Holocaust survivor.
Yes. Yeah,
book
that
about
was a
the-
good ass fucking book.
Book about the Holocaust.
Elie Wiesel or whatever. I fucking loved that book. That was a good book.
And we did a whole little history unit about World War II, basically, and about like Nazi Germany. And my teacher, he's explaining this, and then he goes, check this out. And he reached into like a big cabinet behind his desk that I didn't even think had anything in it. He reaches this big cabinet, he pulls out a big like black book, and he goes, This is Mein Kampf. This is a book Hitler wrote. He had a copy of Mein Kampf that was a very clearly used. He had read this book many times.
Jesus Christ.
He was like, he's an English major, and he does like film stuff now, but he's an English major, and so he was like, this is probably the worst thing I've ever read.
Yeah, he's a shitty writer from what I've heard.
Terrible writer.
But isn't that book, is it illegal in the U.S. or is it Germany? I'm thinking.
It's definitely Germany. I could buy a copy of Mein Kampf
in
at
Germany.
Target.
It's illegal to fucking have that book. So.
That's a bit cringe. As much as it's like Adolf Hitler, right?
It's just a book.
If you try to erase that from history, people are just gonna be like, "Oh, I can't get into the mind of like the most horrific man in history now."
Yeah.
Whereas I just feel like censoring, essentially a historical book.
It's also, like you said, it's insight into the mind of a fucking psychopath.
Exactly.
So arguably a good thing to have, actually.
I think so. I'm not gonna go out of my way to read it because I don't really care that much.
Nah.
But I feel like you should be able to if you want to read Mein Kampf.
Yeah. If I was gonna read a book that long, I'd go straight for fucking it. It's a long book.
It is a fucking massive book.
I saw it at a bookstore a couple months back.
When I was
like,
at Barnes and Noble, I did see it. I did see it.
Huge.
It's like fucking 6 inches thick.
Yeah. I think it's like 1,100 pages or some shit.
It's like 11 or 1,200 pages.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing about Stephen King is that there was a period of time where there's portions of his book that he said he doesn't even remember writing because he was on drugs.
Makes sense.
He was on so much cocaine that like he just doesn't even remember writing part of these books. That's awesome.
Maybe that's how you become famous. You just do cocaine and try to write.
Cocaine.
And try to write, yeah.
Well, maybe that's how it. I mean, let me think. Who's it worked for? Stephen King. Joey Diaz. He was a cokehead for like 30 years, and now he's a very talented comedian.
And Chris.
And me.
Look how successful you are.
That was supposed to be a joke. I don't actually do cocaine.
Disclaimer, Chris has never dabbled in the arts of cocaine.
This is true.
But, yeah, man, Mein Kampf. I've always wanted to read, like just open up to, like, a random section and just kind of read a couple blurbs and see what the fuck it even entails, but I don't know, man.
Well, the way it was described to me was like, so I read like 2 or 3 paragraphs, and then I had to pause and then reread it and go, oh, that was about hating Jews. I didn't even understand what he was trying to fucking say because he's such a terrible writer.
Fucking idiot.
So.
Yeah. Fucking, I don't know, man. But, yeah, I'm going to be reading the Metro books. I'm very excited.
Mein Kampf on the reading list.
Mein Kampf next after the Metro books. But, I'm excited. I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like a kind of a cult classic with the people who are familiar with it. It'll be good to have it read because I've played both or all three of the games. I mean, so it'll be good to have it read as well, and maybe compare some differences there. But yeah, I also had an incident, Chris.
You had an incident
with a bathroom again.
I actually did have an incident as well.
I had another fucking incident, Chris. It happened. So previously on the show, I destroyed a bathroom and a poor Spanish woman had to clean it.
Did you make her do that again?
No. This was at home at least.
Oh, all right. So you cleaned it.
Yeah.
No, you had your girlfriend clean it.
Yeah, there you go. No, so Chris.
Jordan loves making messes and having women clean them.
That's not true.
The only way you can get hard.
It's not true. Well, maybe, but it's not true. Chris knows this because he was there. He was the lad. We had a work outing.
I wasn't in the bathroom. I was
at the work outing.
I was at the work outing. I wasn't involved in this bathroom thing. I went home to my house. Jordan went back to his bathroom.
We had a work outing, and I had a Mediterranean wrap.
Dude, that was probably the greatest experience of my life, because I was at a restaurant for the very first time, and I was like, I can just order fucking anything.
This motherfucker ordered steak tips.
I ordered steak tips. It was like $30 goddamn. I spent my meal and the appetizer we got was like $50, and I was like, don't care. I got coffee. I got drinks. It was great. And if I was old enough to drink, I'd be drinking, getting beers.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a good time. But I had that wrap. And as we were leaving the restaurant, we all were walking out. The last people who stayed around, me, Chris, the coworkers he works with, some of my coworkers, and our boss.
I think that last hour and a half was probably one of the greatest outings I've ever had, honestly.
Yeah, we made it outside, and I passed a little gas, and I was like,
uh-oh.
I was like, ooh, I almost just shit my pants. so. I'm like, I'm good. It was just like a slight stomach pain. I'm good. I get in the car. Chris hung out at my car for like a minute.
I did.
We were like, yeah, fuck you, guy. And then I left. Well, I made it to the first set of lights, and I was like, oh my god.
Well, keep in mind, listeners, he was like 3 minutes from his house, or like 5.
This is like 3 to 5 minutes from my house. I made it to the first set of lights, and I'm like, oh, this is happening. My ass is just opening on its own. On its own, it's just opening up. And I'm like, oh no.
The brown rain is starting.
I flew home. Got home, jumped out of the car, ran upstairs.
Tore up 3 flights of stairs.
5 flights of stairs with the outside stairs.
Oh, yeah, because it's
like 4.5, we'll say. I flew up the stairs, the whole time just feeling my ass open itself. Like clouds ready to pour down rain.
Jesus.
I bust into the apartment door. My girlfriend's practicing guitar on the couch. I walked by. I went, hi. And then ran into the bathroom. I literally was like 6 to 8 inches above the toilet when I just fucking terminal velocity diarrheaed into this toilet. I didn't even have the light on in the bathroom. I was in the dark. I hit it and it just went and then it was done.
And then you turn on the lights and what did you see?
I look down. And it literally looked like what I would imagine if you took a brown dog, right? And you soaked it. You put it in torrential rain. And then you put it through a meat grinder. That's what the inside of that toilet looked like. For the first time in forever, I flushed it before I was even done for the fear of it getting stuck. It was bad. The water level in that toilet went up 2 inches. It was bad.
I almost had a similar incident yesterday.
Oh, boy. So, that was my incident. That was at home, at least, not at work this time. What happened to you, Chris?
This is not the one I want to talk about, but this is a different thing. I almost had a similar thing happen yesterday. It's like 2:30, 3 o'clock. I leave work at 4, and it's like 20 minutes for me to get home. So it's like, I was like 3 o'clock, and I'm like, oh man, I really gotta take a shit. Well, I'm just gonna ride this out, and I just sat there kind of holding it back for a couple
wishing
minutes.
You had that Tesla auto drive,
and then it went away. So I was like, all right, yeah, it can't be that bad then. So then I got into my car, which I had the Fiesta, so I was like, I can't can't shit in here. This ain't my car yet.
That's how you mark it as your territory.
So I drive home. That's not in the contract to say you can't shit in the car, so.
True.
You can't smoke in the car, but it doesn't say you can't shit in the car.
True. Loophole, baby.
So I drive home, and I'm like, oh, there it is again. And I got home, and it was just like, it was just like 6 minutes of just straight water. I was like, oh, this ain't
Draining
good.
in your toilet bowl.
Yeah, I'm like, this ain't good. And that was it. I just had it was close. It was close, and it would have been a bad one if it happened.
At least it wasn't at work. What? So what was your other incident?
But my incident was, this is not something I did, but
Ooh, even better.
I went to the
Someone
bathroom.
else's shitsident.
Yeah. I went in the bathroom. I walked in, and I was just like, I got in, I was using the urinal, and then someone is in the like handicap stall, the big one, and I just hear that, and they know I'm in there because they heard me open the door, and they heard
Squeaks.
me walk
This is at
up.
work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Heard me
squeaks.
walk up, and obviously there's some auditory feedback from me using the urinal. So it's like, so he knows I'm in there. He knows another person is in there, and he's just like in the stall, just going.
Dude, people at our work do that a surprising amount.
I was like, yo, what the fuck?
The best part, right, is
I washed my hands and I ran out of there. I wanted to get out of there as quickly as possible. So it was just it's just like, I don't know what that guy's going through right now, but I don't want to be here for it.
the best part about people at our work is they have no shame. They'll do that,
That's
and then
fucking
halfway through
awful.
you hear bloop. It's like, and you're just taking a piss. You're like, oh my
Oh,
god.
Jesus. There have been times where not me, but like one of my other coworkers, Alex or otherwise, will go to the bathroom, like, all right, I'm going to the bathroom. And they come back and they're like, yeah, I'm actually not going to the bathroom. Someone just blew it up in there. I was like, I'm just going to wait a few minutes.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, yeah, that's...
No one has any shame there. I
Yeah, no,
noticed.
all right, put it this way. If you're going to the bathroom in public, maybe don't do that.
You mean don't moan like you're having sex with yourself?
Exactly. Like, don't, like... Listen, I understand maybe it's a decent shit, but, like... It can't
This
be
man's
that good.
really enjoying himself.
Yeah.
Dude, I wonder, right? I wonder if he's going for a record. Maybe he was trying to experiment, and he was like, what happens if I time it just right that I nut and shit at the same time?
Well, clearly we found out. It sounds somewhat enjoyable.
Time to try it, baby.
Maybe it's all misconstrued and he was like stabbed and like just bleeding out. He's like bleeding out in the
Chris is like,
thing.
man, this guy's fucking gross. He's like, there's a hole in his lung.
Like
He's calling an ambulance.
his
He's like,
fucking
help.
intestine is on the ground.
You step on it, you're like, ew.
There's a worm in the bathroom. Get that out of there.
Can't sit underneath the stall. The guy's like,
Kick it back
oh.
Kick it back over.
Oh, man. That's fucking funny. Yeah, dude, fuck bathrooms. I'm over it.
I'm over using the bathroom. I think I'm just gonna plug up my ass so I'll never have to use the bathroom again.
Yeah, basically.
I'll get a colostomy bag.
I was also mad at Windows the other day. I felt like you for a moment. I was going through my applications.
Oh, I can't imagine that was fun.
Just going through my applications on Windows after a Windows update. And you want to know what Windows auto-installed with this update?
What did they auto-install, Jordan?
Solitaire and Candy Crush.
That's annoying,
I was quite upset.
but not out of the ordinary.
I was quite upset just for the sheer fact that they had the audacity to do this.
No, they've done that to people before.
I know
Not
they used to auto-install Final Fantasy VII for mobile.
Really?
It was like a top-down Clash of Clans style game. Yeah.
I know they used to auto-install Candy Crush a lot.
Yeah.
They never did it. They never did it to me, but
They knew what would happen.
they knew I was like, listen, I am like just very close to just uninstalling Windows. Like just
fuck off.
don't do this.
Yeah, so I was kind of pissed about that, to be honest with you. I was like,
That is annoying.
You slimy, slud-looking, lizard-smelling motherfuckers.
Lizard smelling.
Yeah, dude.
Do they smell of lizard or are they smelling the lizards?
Both.
Damn.
They used it as like a bar of soap, and then they smelled it.
Lizards are stinky.
Dude, Jerry and Noggin are stinky.
Well, it's like lizards and like
They got
reptiles.
fat nuts, too.
Reptiles in general, just they musk.
Ugh.
They're just like, as a defense mechanism, they're like, okay, I'm making myself really stinky.
They sit under their heat lamp like, yes, bask in the glory.
Yes, and they just fucking radiate stink.
Yeah, it's like a fucking
Guinea pigs do
stink
that
bug.
too?
No, they just smell like shit.
No, that's just in general, okay.
Yeah, no, they just roll around in their shit all day. So.
Ferrets smell bad too. I kind of want a ferret.
You have to wash them.
But like, if you have to wash them, you can't wash them too often because then it'll make the oil faster and they'll stink more. But you can't wash them not enough because then it'll just make the oil and they'll stink worse too.
Yeah.
So either way, you got to get a right balance. And
What if you just get a new ferret every time this one starts to smell?
Every time you're like, okay, this one's getting stinky, and you wring its neck and you get a new one.
Basically.
Or you could probably just sell it. People want ferrets, right?
I mean, it's probably better than that. Better than that cat. I mean, probably smarter at least.
Smarter than what, Chunk?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
He was just attacking the same red dot that was on 20 minutes ago that he was attacking.
That's true, and now he's gonna take another bite out of my Ethernet cable. Dude,
Chris,
he especially hates. For our podcast setup, we have to monitor the audio, which I should be doing all the time, but I'm not.
it's the first time in like 45 minutes, but yeah.
Yeah, we have. It's fine, by the way. We have a splitter. So normally we'll rock 2 pairs of headphones so we can both monitor audio. But here's what happened. Chunk really hates that adapter. He bit one up, and I was like, okay, that's not that bad. I'll replace it. I bought a new one, the exact same one. And I went out to look at the podcast equipment today, and I did a little extra inspection to make sure there's no bite marks, because he has a habit of doing that, but he's been pretty good with the podcast equipment.
Yeah.
And I just see the adapter still plugged in, and it's just a little like half-inch of wire, and the rest of the adapter is like 2 inches away. Like, oh, god damn it. I thought we were done with this. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to buy like a stock of them. I'll buy like 5 or 6 and then just keep replacing them.
Yeah, since he seems to like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might actually deter him from other cables.
Yeah. It might be like a distraction.
Yeah. Which would be nice.
Yeah.
Because if I can't stop him from chewing cables entirely, which I have made efforts to like try to stop him from doing that, hasn't really worked. If I can't stop it entirely, I'd rather have like a
dedicated cable.
Yeah, dedicated cable for him to chew on.
Yeah, that's true.
I could cut him another length of Cat 5 and he can chew on that too, because he's already chewed up one of my Ethernet cables.
The one you made, right?
Yeah, I still have like another 100 foot of Cat 5, so it's not that big of a deal, but
that's funny.
Still annoying.
Speaking of annoying, I'm a bit sad. Bit saddened, but also gladdened.
Okay.
You remember Lone Echo I talked about 2 episodes ago?
Yeah.
I was playing Lone Echo because August 24th, Lone Echo 2 was coming out. Well, it got delayed indefinitely.
Damn.
Some of the sus that's coming around the game now from the Oculus community. Primarily
sus?
Well,
like
this
Among Us?
Yeah.
Sus?
Susungus? Yeah.
When the imposter is sus?
So Lone Echo 2 is the last Rift exclusive. So, the suspicion...
Holy shit, I forgot that the Rift even existed.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So, here's the problem people have. They find it a little sus that the game got delayed, even though the release date itself was announced like 2 weeks ago. So something in like a 4-week time span
something internally
changed.
Happened.
So
they're probably just like maybe a new Rift.
Either new Rift or what some people were guesstimating was like, what if they were just like Yeah, it's the last Rift exclusive. Take half the team to put onto our new Quest game, and the other, half the team can just do that. So then they were like, oh, fuck, we're not going to be done in time.
Maybe that's a good point.
So, I don't know what's going on, man, but to get delayed pretty much indefinitely when it was a release date announced like 2 weeks ago is a bit of an issue. Just rolling around on the floor stretching.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
Bit sus.
Here's what I'm going to say, and I'm going to put this statement out there. If you bought a Rift, initial launch Rift, the very first one, not the dev kit one, the very first production
CV1,
one,
yep.
or a Vive, you and I are both in this boat. You're a bit of a fool.
A little bit.
You should have just waited and spent a third of the money on a fucking used Quest.
Yeah.
Or a Quest 2 for half the money.
Yep.
Do you know how much I spent on my Vive?
1,200 probably?
No, I spent... No, that would be the Vive Pro. That was 1,200.
Oh, okay.
My original Vive...
I thought it was 1,000 when it came out, the original
No,
Vive.
it was 800. I spent $842 on my original Vive. And then I spent another $50 getting an HDMI cable overnighted to my house because I bought it and launched it, and turns out the HDMI cable I had already was incompatible.
Nice.
So all in all, I bought new face pads for it, I believe. So all in all, I've spent probably over $1,000 on this stupid thing.
Yeah. And now you have the Quest 2 for 400 or $300, whatever one you bought, and that's
the 256, so 300, 400.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even buy. I got it for Christmas.
It's a good thing you didn't get the 64 because they just got rid of it.
I got it for Christmas. What did they replace? What, 128?
Yeah, for the same price.
Damn.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons. There's not a lot of reasons to not get a Quest if
you're on the market for VR.
You're in the market for VR. I can't really think of a decent enough one to justify spending the extra money.
No.
Maybe the Knuckles controllers.
The index and shit.
The index controllers, whatever they're called, where you can do individual finger tracking.
But the problem with the index controllers, and I see this all over Steam reviews for VR games, index players get mad because, think about the Quest 2. You have the grip button. On, off. It's a button.
Yeah.
It's not pressure sensitive. Well, the problem is most game developers don't give a shit about index. And what they do...
They don't give a shit. You're telling me they don't give a shit about the 1% of players who actually have index controllers?
But the grip, in order to grip, instead of just hitting a button like on the Quest 2, you have to squeeze it to its highest sensitivity, which is very high on the knuckles. It can sense a high range of pressure from light to very hard. So they literally bruise their hands from playing because instead of just hitting that grip button to pick something up, you have to squeeze the shit out of this controller.
Here is my...
So, fuck the index.
here's my counter to that. Just get stronger hands. Work out, get one of those fucking cruncher things.
Crunch, yeah.
I got one.
And use that to jack off, yeah.
I got one. I got strong-ass hands, bro. I have strong-ass hands. I could probably...
But imagine every time in, Blade and Sorcery, or for example, in, Onward, you have to grab your magazine to reload. Imagine every time having to squeeze the shit out of this controller.
That's just my default grip, bro.
I guess.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, if I grabbed your forearm, I would snap it.
Probably, yeah.
My default grip is I got at least...
There's a grip strength tester. We should get one and do it on the show.
I got at least, 3,000 or 4,000 PSI in my grip. That's not true. I actually probably have a weak grip compared to,
someone else your size?
Yeah.
Probably.
Because I have,
Gotta jack off more.
That'd be difficult for me to do more.
Shit.
No, it's I don't have a lot of upper body strength, comparatively.
Yeah. It's all lower body. You get them fucking meaty legs,
dude,
baby.
This is my thing, dude. If I ever take up Muay Thai, which I'm thinking about it, if I ever take up Muay Thai, I would be a fucking killer, dude. I could probably kick people in half.
Probably with the amount of fucking mass.
If there's any Muay Thai instructors listening who want to give me lessons for free, please.
Please do, my friend.
Please do. I want to learn how to kick somebody in half. I want to learn how to kick Jordan out of existence.
Just erase me.
I want to take a human being off the census with one kick.
Ooh, hell yeah, brother. Damn. But in good news, the Siege of Paris DLC came out for Valhalla.
Yeah, it's like that one song with Kanye West and Jay-Z.
I'm done.
So what do you do in the Siege of Paris? I imagine you siege Paris.
Yeah, no, yeah, you just jack off a lot. No, yeah, you siege Paris. It has awoken something in me, where I've realized
You're gay?
I am a LGBTQ plus minus 10%.
You're all of them.
Alpha, Sigma,
somehow.
Beta at the same time. I don't know. No, it has made me realize that Valhalla feels like a game
It does.
that was worked on by like two different teams at different times.
Why do you say that?
You have the main story in Valhalla. The beginning, very cutscene and story focused. The meat of it, very grindy and like just basic generic quest focused. The end of it, very story focused. The first DLC, Wrath of the Druids, very short, very concise, just a lot of combat. This DLC, way more cinematic. It feels like it's a completely different team that decided a completely different approach. It's way more cinematic. Like, there's actual cutscenes, which the base game doesn't fucking have. Like, generally. It's weird.
Maybe, here's my theory. They got a team. They got a game dev team. And they split it into, like, 3. And they were like, okay, here's the story we have. You're going to make this part. Team A is going to make this part. And it would take a lot of communication to actually make this possible. Team A is going to make this part. Team B, you make this part. And Team C, you're going to work on the DLC afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So Team A, say, worked on the beginning of the game and then the very end of the game. And Team B,
the biggest team, just did the middle portion.
Yeah, worked on like the main missions because it's like there's not a lot of substance to them really.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they're very shallow.
And then Team C worked on the DLCs.
Yeah, because there's like maybe I just need to replay Valhalla because I haven't played the main story in a long time because I beat it a long time ago. But there's like the DLC starts off with you sitting by a fire talking to a guy and he's telling a story and there's music. He says like, you know, the guy's name, like just say the Griffin, and it cuts to like a view of the enemy in Paris standing by a fire and the guy's narrating over it, and then it jump cuts back with a sudden beat to Eivor, like whoa. And there was like a genuine fucking cutscene for once, when most of the game is just Eivor standing there and talking.
He just stands there. He stands there and he listens, and then he delivers like some kind of fucking poetry, and then the cutscene ends.
Exactly. And like, for example, one of the last missions I did yesterday ended with a cutscene, but it's not like the normal one where he's just talking. He's talking, it cuts to another character, and then it shows him walk out like a Red Dead 2 cutscene would, walk out of the building, wave by to someone, and then it gives you control of him. Like a fluid animation. Dude, it feels like a different game. It's weird.
No, essentially what he does is like the cutscene is like really heated moment, and Eivor's just standing there blank face, and then you select a line, doesn't matter what it is, and he's like, once upon a midnight dreary, as I pondered weak and weary. It's just like, what the fuck? How is this related?
Yep. No, it's funny, and
well, it's technically tangentially related because in the game he has the Raven, and the poem's called The Raven.
There you go. Sunan is fucking Raven.
He just talks to this fucking Raven. It's weird, bro.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
He has control over
the Raven's a lot less prominent in this game compared to the fucking eagle and the owl from the two previous games. Actually, they might have both been eagles, to be honest with you, in the previous two. But in Origins, like this, like the guy will walk with it on his shoulder and be like talking to it, and like it's very involved. In Odyssey, super involved. Icarus is the name of it in fucking Odyssey. I can't remember what it's called in Origins. Sunan is fucking Eivor's, Icarus, and then here's with a V, I think. But the Raven's not even really in this game. Like, there's a couple cutscenes where it might like fly by and he looks at it, or people will be like, "Oh, Raven feeder. Oh, they're lucky, he has a Raven," you know. but it's not quite as in your face.
Look, he's got a fucking bird. I don't know.
You know what I realized about Valhalla 2? Up to release, we talked about this, and I said how the leaks were saying they were trying to make like a Witcher 3-esque RPG. And I realized that those two games have something very distinct in common. The line delivery is usually shit from the main character. The only advantage that The Witcher has is that Geralt can't show emotions because he's a Witcher.
It makes sense in the context of The Witcher, but I still wouldn't say that Geralt's performance was like a standout performance.
No, compared to some of the big hitters, like no, it's not. It's
compared to like look at like God of War. Look how well acted those fucking cutscenes
Every single cutscene, every single character, even the smallest ones. Yes. Yeah. And then you have Geralt, and then you have Eivor.
Yeah.
And I still love both of them. Valhalla is such a weird game to me because I fired up the DLC. First of all, the content they added is really good. Not gonna get too much into it, but it's really good. They brought back like normal assassinations now, but you can do it in like dramatic ways, which is kind of cool. So you do like a series of events to get you closer to the target, and it does like a much more dramatic, showy assassination. It's pretty cool.
It's like in Hitman. If you follow the story piece, it's like you can do a big dramatic thing where it's a cutscene and like a guy falls through a fucking building. Or
something. Like instead of, for example, one of the guys you have to assassinate is like a priest who's supposed to be like doing deliverance. And you can just climb above him, jump down, stab him in the neck, and then fight the guards. Or you can blend in as someone going for said deliverance and get down in the pool where he's about to do it. And then as he goes to do it, just stick your knife right into his fucking head. And it does like a whole dramatic scene around it. And it's cool that they brought that back from like the older games too. The DLC as a whole, really good. But man, I'm so overpowered because I have the DLC weapons from the first DLC. The DLC is rated at like 200. All the enemies are supposed to be like fight power level 480. I started it at like 420 or 425, somewhere around there. But the fucking weapons I have from the first DLC, I'm just fucking mopping the floor with everything. So good. I love the game. I start playing it and I'm like, I don't remember what I thought was so great about this. And then I'm like 2 hours in and I'm like, this is fucking awesome, dude. That's how that game is for me.
Yeah, no, there's like I feel like you're definitely at any point in the game, really, you're super OP.
Yeah.
You're just like, I walked into a raid, and like before anyone even touched another enemy, I wiped out like 20 people. Yeah. And the raid was over.
Actually, speaking of that reminded me, I didn't put it in the notes, but there's a goofy scene. And the reason I think it's goofy is just because of how powerful Eivor is when he's player controlled. In this DLC, you have to rescue a queen at one point. You bring her back to the king, and the king betrays you. But during this rescue mission, you take out like 50 guards. Like you fucking bust into a camp and you just take everyone out, right? You get back to bring the queen to the king, and the king betrays you and is like, he wants his guards to kill you and the queen. There's 4 guards, and it's not player controlled. So you wipe out this camp, you save the queen, you go back, it goes to the cutscene. The 4 guards come out, and this dude just sent you into a camp to wipe out 50 guards, and he sends 4 guards after you, and Eivor holds the queen back, and he's like, oh, this isn't going to end well. And then you just swipe the floor with the 4 of them, and then it cuts to the scene, and he's like,
yeah.
You're all right, my queen.
And it's very much like, I hate that shit, where it's like, this happens in Skyrim a lot, this happens in The Witcher 3 a lot. Like, all the enemies, like the base enemies, act like they're hot shit. They're like, it's like, the Skyrim is the egregious example, where it's like, a single robber will walk up to you after watching you kill a dragon
2 dragons
single-handedly and suck out their soul. And they're like, give me everything you have. And they have like an iron dagger. And you pull out your weapon made of demon hearts and kill them instantly without even looking at them. Like, alright, listen. This doesn't even make sense within context of the game. I mean, not to bring everything back to Red Dead 2. Mm-hmm. Because we always do
I was going to bring an analogy right after anyway.
They're very much, you understand they have plot armor, obviously.
Obviously.
Because there's certain characters that you know for a fact survive the experience.
Because of the first game. Yeah.
Because of the original game. And then there's But there's always instances where it's like, oh yeah, this is definitely a fair fight. Where it's like, or this is definitely, I can see why this would be, even contextually, as a player, I can see how this would be very, very concerning. Mm-hmm. As like, oh, there's 25 people, and they have one of your guys with a gun to his head. What are we gonna do? There's like 4 of us.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and it makes more sense, and it's better development for the characters of the game to have like, oh, well, Dutch spins a narrative, and then Arthur can pull the gun, and then it's a whole thing. I'm thinking of the end mission of Valentine.
Yeah.
Where it's like, Dutch can spin a narrative, Arthur pulls a gun, everyone
And blasts
barricades
everyone.
the bar, and then you fight your way out, and it's tough.
Strauss gets hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think they do it the best.
Yeah,
but they do pretty much everything the best.
True.
That game.
That's why they take so long to make games. But that my specific.
That's why we won't shut up about Red Dead 2. Ever.
That's why.
Until a game we play is better than Red Dead 2, we'll never stop talking.
Do you think Red Dead 2 is the best looking game you've ever played?
The best looking, like graphically, it's up there.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's the best. I think it's got to be one of the best that I've seen.
What can you think of as the best game?
Oh,
so I said this to our boss. I said that I thought Red Dead 2 was the best looking game simply because of how much there is. So it's not like a linear experience.
Yeah, you make a great point.
You're in an open world, but everything has so much detail. A simple rock. So I was telling him that, and he was like, well, yeah, that makes sense. But he was surprised that, in my opinion, no game has bested it. And I mean, I think there's games, like even the newer Call of Duties that are like spectacular looking, or Spider-Man PS4, or The Last of Us 2. But they're all linear games. There is no open world game.
There's no exploration.
Even Valhalla does not hold a candle. Like, maybe the animation, I'm sorry, not the animation, the characters themselves, I'm like, oh yeah, that looks pretty good. But the animation, the environments, nothing tops Red Dead, in my opinion.
Well, now that I'm thinking
God
about
of
it, the
War?
games that I'm thinking of, I look on as looking better than they actually do look. Like The Witcher 3, that game in my head still looks a very, very
But
good.
it actually looks like shit.
It doesn't look terrible. It's not a terrible looking game, but it just doesn't look as awe-inspiring as it was.
You're like, oh, this is older than I thought.
Exactly. It's like, oh, this...
2015?
I played a game a year ago that looks way better than this, with a way smaller budget. No, I think... Now, this is going to be a bit controversial.
We like controversy.
I'm not saying this is better, but I think it's kind of on par. Night City in Cyberpunk was a very, very good map. It was a very densely populated city. They do the
Everything looked really good. Ray tracing on.
They do the city ambience very well.
Yeah.
I liked that map a lot.
Yep.
I wish they did more with it.
I wish the game worked, yeah.
I wish the game worked. Hey, it might work better now. I haven't played it in months. I'm going to go back in, when it come out, December?
I think we should do it at the same time.
Red Dead 2, I'm going to replay around December. So, like, January, February.
We should replay it then, yeah.
I'd
like to redo it for the show. I wanna see what it's about, you know.
I'd like to actually replay it because I had to work around so many glitches and bullshit when I first played it that I don't even remember a lot of the story. Like, even right after I played it, I barely remembered how the game fucking ended. Yeah. Because I was like, oh, I have to fight a glitch now. Or, oh, I phased through the world in the middle of a very important cutscene now, so now I have no fucking context of what's actually even happening.
Compared to how that game starts, I remember just being like, wow, that story was not that great. That's all I remember. In my time with Cyberpunk, I was surprisingly lucky with glitches, but I specifically remember starting the game for the first time and just being like, man, I'm fucking ready. I'm ready. Getting through the Nomad intro where you're fucking in the desert. You make it to Night City, and I'm like, man, I'm so ready. And then right after, spoiler alert, 3, 2, 1, Jackie dies, and the game shows you the title screen. I'm like, oh, the rest of this game kind of sucks, actually.
No,
cool.
no. Honestly, I kind of agree. If it was just I feel like they could have had, this is bold, they could have had a Red Dead 2-esque plot and a good competitor in comparison to the game if they had just extended that particular event out
towards
the actual end of the game. So it was like, oh, it's 2 guys and they do crime together and they do
That
robberies.
was the best part of the plot.
That was so awesome.
You were the
and that's like the
heist.
first 4 or 5 hours of the game.
You're like
this
heist
is awesome.
masters. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
and you
epic.
do heists and you're robbing like really important people and you could
Yeah.
You could do that, and I feel like they could just do that for the whole portion of the game, and then just throw out whatever other plot there is.
I feel like the game, the first 4 hours of the game, right? You do all this stuff, and then you have literally the name of the mission, which I think is like the Great Heist or that big heist, right? And you're like at the top of the world. You're like, these two guys, they don't fuck around, right?
There's two guys,
and then the plot just plummets into boring bullshit, street level bullshit.
Yeah, it's like,
and then the ending's kind of like, ooh.
There's two guys, top of the world. They just fought their way out of the most powerful man on the planet. They just fought their way out of his apartment through all his entire security
dove out of
force.
A window. Like,
yeah. So
I just feel like the plot was like, bam, it was up here. Like, the stakes were high. Then the rest of the game's like ground level, and then the ending's like, oh yeah, they're kind of doing
if they kept that through the game, I think it would have been a lot better.
Also,
if they kept the duo throughout the game.
Also, if you didn't step a foot into Night City and then hear new job, new job, new job, new job, new job, and you're just like, oh my god, bro.
Yeah, no, that was the biggest issue I had with the game, though. Aside from the glitches, like conceptually with the game, the biggest issue I had was like
the moment you're in Night City,
the moment you're dropped in, it's like, oh, I'm in the middle of trying to actually do something. I'm getting 785 phone calls.
Mm-hmm. Or oh my god, it's always popping up saying new job, new job, new job,
like,
and then you go,
this is insufferable. I can't stand this.
I used to think The Witcher 3 was bad if you took on too many side quests and didn't do them, and then you go through your quest list and you're like, holy shit, dude.
Well, here's the thing,
that was all optional.
Here's the thing about The Witcher 3 is they actually pace out the side quests. You can take on a lot at once, but it's not like, oh, you got 47 phone calls in the first 2 hours of the game. Like, I can't stand this.
Yeah. I'm hoping I go back to the game and I'm like, oh, this is better than I remembered. That's what I'm hoping.
I hope so as well.
Because I don't remember being very good at all, even from a conceptualized concept standpoint.
GTA does the phone call thing very well.
Yeah.
Where it's like GTA 5, you have a phone,
and it gets calls. And that's how a lot of missions start.
And you get phone calls, but it's like only at the start of a mission, or like sometimes there's a side quest, or like if you own one of the businesses, they're like, hey, it's Downton Cab Co. Can you take a fare? And that was it.
Yeah.
And then you take a fare. You show up to a fair in a Bugatti Veyron and drive them up to a camp of cannibals where they get eaten.
Yeah, basically. I do have to say, like with GTA, the whole phone calls thing, it also fits better, in my opinion. Like just the way they introduce it. Like with Cyberpunk, it's all futuristic, and you're taking these phone calls like in your head, and it's like, from a story perspective, it's like all these random fucking people. Like, you'll get a call from the same person twice sometimes. And you're just like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah. Versus, like, GTA is like, you'll just be walking down the street, and it's like, oh, fucking Roman wants to go bowling. Or in GTA 5, it's like, Trevor's calling to set up the next mission where you guys do a heist. Or, like,
exactly.
I don't know. It's just like, GTA does it best. Again, Rockstar just fucking does it best. It's just as simple as that.
Gold standard video games is Rockstar.
Yep.
No one really does it better than them.
Nope. And, not quite like them. And they take their time. Their games will, their games will take years.
Yep. And we'll never ever see a GTA 6.
Yeah. What if we were to just theoretically hack into their network and delete the source code for GTA 5 so they can't port it to any more platforms? We get rid of online, and now they have to make GTA 6.
Dude, they have it probably printed out and stored in like a facility.
There's probably like 50 guards just standing there at all times with rocket launchers just in front of the door, just waiting.
If you show up, a guy looks at the building and he just gets vaporized.
Yep. But yeah, man. Now you kind of have me wanting to fucking play Cyberpunk again. But I don't think it's ready yet.
But I want to give it a little while.
Yeah, I don't think it's ready yet.
Beginning of next year.
They pushed back their DLC too, which people were like, yeah, that's probably a good idea because your base game doesn't even work.
Yeah, don't announce anything. Just finish the fucking game, please. And then we'll talk.
Oh, speaking of DLC being announced, the new Life is Strange. People were mad, bro.
Really?
New Life is Strange. It's called Life is Strange True Colors. Comes out September 10th.
Yeah,
yesterday or 2 days ago.
I saw that on my I saw that on my feed one day. Like, you know how the Steam will have like announcements, because I have Life is Strange 2, and Before the Storm.
So it threw it to you, yeah.
So it threw it to me three times. I looked at it, and I was like, oh, interesting. And then I completely forgot about it. I was like, I don't really care that much.
They already announced a DLC. So the game comes out September 10th, and September 30th, the DLC comes out. So people were mad, bro.
Why? Why develop? Why not just, if it's going to come out so close to the release of the game, why not just include it in the game?
Or just hold off and like release it 2 months later.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It's not going anywhere.
Just have it in the backlog, ready to go.
Yeah, wait 3 months.
Yeah. So people were mad. I don't personally care.
Give people time to beat the game. Forget about it, and then go, hey, we have a DLC. And then you get more people playing the game.
What's weird is the DLC is called like Stephanie's Story, but you haven't played the game yet. I don't know who Stephanie is.
I don't know who Stephanie is.
I don't know who she is. Like, I don't know what's going on. So I don't see why they wouldn't either backlog it, or like, I don't personally feel ripped off. Now, if I play the game and I'm like, man, Stephanie's Story fits in and should have been in the main game, then I'll be like, all right, you guys are scum. But if it's just DLC, I don't really care as long as the main game is good. But it's just weird.
Have you played Life is Strange 2?
Yeah. Full thing, no, but I've watched like a playthrough of it like years ago. But
I haven't played the full thing, and I kind of want to do. I kind of want to do a playthrough of the full thing.
I do too. You know what we should do? Why the fuck not? We should do a podcast version of it where we play through it together. Like, you play it and we make decisions and shit.
I like that idea.
That would be good. Because I've always wanted to play it because I've only seen like the first episode and like the fourth episode. You know what I saw a
playthrough of? What's that game? Oh Christ!
Tell me why.
Until Dawn.
Until Dawn. That
saw a game.
Fucking good.
I saw a playthrough of Until Dawn.
That game's great.
Each chapter, I think it goes by the hours. Each hour, they passed off the controller to a different person.
Really?
To make their choices, and they play the game differently.
So
it's episode. There's 5 episodes or whatever. So we just say
each episode.
I do one, you do one. I do one, you do one, and then the last one. I think we should all, or we could just do it that way, where it's just I play, and then we both make decisions.
And maybe if you get sick of playing, then pass it off, whatever it may be. Yeah, we should do that. Look out for that. I think we're gonna do that.
I think we'll do that.
I think that seems
I like that
easy
idea
enough.
A lot, actually.
It seems fun enough. I think that'll be something we can do real well. Make a good, entertaining video.
I just think it'll be like
or series.
It'll be released in like fucking 1 hour chunks. They'll be long. We'll probably do the whole episode and then and then move on.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm glad we got on that topic. So that's cool.
And then we can play Stephanie's Story. We can play the new one.
Fucking Stephanie.
Goddamn bitch.
Imagine if your name was Stephanie.
I'd kill myself.
Stephanie's listening. She's like, I'm sorry.
All of our subscribers are all named Stephanie.
That's not true. One of them named Stefan.
Even me. I'm sub to the channel.
I am Stephanie.
I am Stephanie.
It's like I am Iron Man, but instead it's Stephanie. But yeah, that really has me thinking. That's a good video idea. I'd be thinking about Cyberpunk now. I can't really get it out of my head because I don't even remember how that game plays. Like, I can't even remember. I do remember the gunplay was kind of ass though, but that's besides the point.
I like the combat and gunplay.
It was okay. I didn't like for how, like, I don't know. I felt like in a lot of areas, I used like the same gun for like the whole fucking game. And I just kind of felt like it was trash. But I also rushed through it for the podcast and also was like, man, half the time it's crashing. Half the time I'm falling through the map. Half the time my car blows up. So I think a second playthrough will be eye-opening.
I agree. Because I don't really remember a lot about how the game plays either. Because I'm like, oh, it doesn't.
I thought our boss was going to give us a ton of shit as well.
Why?
Because he knows we were hyped for Cyberpunk at the time.
And
then it was ass.
He's like, you nerds, fuck you. He's going to beat the shit out of us.
I used to think, like, I
didn't even work for him yet. He was just going to beat me up.
Yeah.
So he just doesn't like me.
I just thought, I was like, I know he's going to be like, see, I told you it might not be great. I was like, we knew. We just were hoping.
We anticipated this, but we're not happy about the situation.
I just don't see how Rockstar in 10 years can make, or 9 years can make Red Dead 2. And in 12 years, CD Projekt Red makes that. Even though, as we've discussed numerous times, I don't believe personally that was 12 years of solid development.
No, it definitely wasn't.
I think that picked up after the success of The Witcher 3.
But I also agree that Red Dead 2 wasn't 9 years of solid development.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So,
anyway, that's our 2 cents. Now I really like that Life is Strange idea too. That's a good idea. We'll have to do that. right after our camping extravaganza. That's next episode, baby. Fireside Podcast. Get hyped.
Yeah.
And Fireside Podcast might be a sign of things to come. There's some discussions between me and Chris about introducing a video format to this podcast, so you can look at my nutsack.
There is some discussion. Yeah, Jordan actually has his nutsack out on the table right now. See?
There it is.
Let me hang on.
Oh! God damn! Twist it. Bop
Right.
it.
Let me give it a little twist. Insert fucking like a ratchet sound.
Oh man, I'm actually gonna do that tomorrow too when I fucking edit this. Or next week, technically. Ooh, I'm retarded. I didn't even think about that. I'm gonna have to edit during the week because we're camping boys next week.
We are, yeah.
Look out for that video, man. That's a fucking banger. It ain't even made yet, and I know it's a banger.
I already know it's good. I went into the future. I extrapolated it out. I went to the timeline, ran it through the algorithm. And I was like, damn, this is a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I got, Chris. You got anything else?
Nope.
So that's it.
That's the end of the show.
It's the end of the show, baby. Look out. Next week, Fireside Podcast. Sometime in September. The big extravaganza camping trip video. So keep a motherfucking eye out.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Remind the people. What platforms are we on?
So, if you want to listen to this podcast going forward, I highly recommend you keep an eye on the YouTube channel, given those videos that I just referenced. But if you just want to listen to the podcast portion, we're found natively on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Radio Public, and of course, Pocketcasts. That's my favorite podcasting app. They lost a couple brownie points with me, but it is my favorite app. And as always, if you want to contact us, do it via email, synapsemisfire@pm.me. Comments, questions, concerns, death threats. You can also comment on YouTube if you are listening. And I can't express this enough. Stay tuned for some of the big shit we got going on. I can't wait for this camping trip. It's going to be so much fun.
There are big things in the works.
Yeah, this camping trip's going to be great. Watch it be shitty weather, though. But fuck.
It's just going to pour the whole time.
Hey, GoPros are water resistant. We got this. All right, bye now.
Get out of my house.
Fuck you, my friend.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Don't do that. Please don't do that. Stop. Stop.